Hello everybody, my name is Ivan Ethos, and welcome back to Warframe in a Nutshell. Today we're talking about Revenant, the R Warframe. So, we'll go ahead and quickly look at Revenant's base stats here. Now his base stats at rank 30, of course, are 105 armor, so not the best, but not the worst. 188 energy, and a little bit on the low side. 300 health, with 675 shields, which is one of the highest shields in the game. So, he's a good one. Now, as you can see, this is his blank. I have polarized him twice. So there are these two are new polarities on him. But the rest of these, so he has a dash polarity, a V polarity, and another dash polarity. The dash polarity is his aura, which means he plays really well with like shield disruption and energy siphon, loot detector. Where's the one? Really common one that I use all the time. Oh, corrosive projection, of course. So, his abilities are pretty easy to understand for the most part, pretty simple. So we'll go ahead and generate some level 30 Lanthers to practice on, and I'll show you what I mean by those. Okay. So, Revenant's first ability is called Enthrall. Now he converts a target into a zealous thrall. Thralls turn on their allies and enthrall through damage. On death, they disintegrate into a damaging pillar of energy. The thrall hole remains under the Revenant spell until this ability runs out. So it does 1,000 damage per second. Might be the first number people see like, what? That's for the pillar. And the pillar actually has a fairly small effect, as you can see, 2 meters. So it's not super great, and it doesn't scale very well with power strength. The duration is 30 seconds though, so it's a high duration ability even from the start off. And it's a 25-meter range. Now, his passive is shield depletion, smashes enemies with a near shockwave. So, kind of nice. Now, if you want to see what this ability looks like, it looks like that. The enemy gets a little, like, thing above their head. Kind of looks like sentient-ish. Kind of reminds you, if you think about it, of the, what are they called? The Vombalists out in the Plains of Eidolon. Which makes sense, because that's kind of where he's found. So, beyond this, when you kill them, they turn into a damaging pillar. As you can see, these enemies are standing fairly close, and yet are hard to affect. But they do send out these periodic projectiles of energy, which do hurt a little bit, as you can see. Now, my second ability, which I can show you right here, is called Mesmer's Skin. Now, Mesmer's Skin makes you immortal to all damage. And what it does is it redirects damage and stuns enemies. So it 100% reflects damage, and it stuns enemies who attack me. And stunned enemies, as you can see, can be enthralled at no energy cost. Number of the charges is 6, the duration is 5 seconds. So that's the duration of the stun, not the duration of the Mesmer's Skin. Mesmer's Skin just kind of does this, and makes me immortal damage. Now I can showcase this skill and his first skill a little bit more effectively if the enemies are not hogs. So we'll go ahead and do that, kill them, and simulate new ones. So I'll go ahead and do that. So they're going to attack him now. This guy is, as you can see, he was stunned for a brief second, and now all these enemies are attacking each other and turning them into my little horde of enemies. Cool fact, I can kill one, and the rest of them will be unaffected by the pillar. But as soon as the ability elapses, or if I activate it again, well, no, I think I have to just let it elapse. But I can reactivate my Mesmer Skin, which is good. But as soon as this ability elapses, all of a sudden, they will become an enemy. See, as you can see, all of them tried to attack me, and all of them became stunned. So as you can see, Revenant has a kind of an interesting passive utility defensive kit. Now his next ability is a little bit more interesting. It's called Reeve. Now, in order to show off Reeve effectively, I have to kind of take some damage here. So taking a little bit of damage here. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to press this button. And what will you'll see first of all, I'm immortal while I use Reeve. Second of all, you regenerate health and shields, which I'll actually jump back over to here, kill everybody off, and kind of read the ability to you so you don't get completely confused by what I mean. So, Reeve dashes through enemies as a wall of sentient energy, leeching shields and health from any encountered, enhanced for thralls. So the width is 6 meters of wave, and its duration is 1 second, and its health and shield drain is 40%. Your higher duration makes you Reeve longer, because the duration is not how far you travel, but as so much as how long you travel. So it's kind of an interesting ability. And the last one, of course, is Dance Macabre. Dance Macabre is you erupt with a multitude of Eidolon energy beams and sweep a circle of death around Revenant. The beams will modify their damage type to target select defenses, while incoming damage is redirected back into the beams. Hold fire to boost status effects and damage at the cost of increased energy consumption. Thralls killed by this ability leave overshield pickups. The damage per second is 1250. The boost damage is 2500. Its radius is, as you can see, the radius of each beam is only 0.1 meter, and its boosted radius is 0.2 meters, but the energy per second is 20 energy per second. So it's a lot. Now, if you want to see what this kind of looks like, once again, we'll do this. Go ahead and do that. And then we'll jump, and we'll... And that little zero that you see up there, as you take damage, will increase the damage of your beams. Which means you can do some pretty scary stuff with this. Now, another thing that you can do, which is kind of an interesting thing, and we'll show it with the level 100s here. Actually, let's do 135s. Something to remember about him. And again, this is something important to pay attention to. These are level 135 enemies. Okay? He has no mods. Revenant has 0 mods on him. And yet, he was clearing the field with them. With level 135 enemies. And that is because of how he functions. Now, one of his other great skills you can actually use with him when he's using his Dance Macabre is you can actually Reeve. You can Reeve while using his Dance Macabre. While you Reeve, however, you do not use your beams, as a heads up. But as you can see, he's an incredibly dangerous foe to fight, and he is probably one of the few frames that can easily clear high-level enemies just because he adapts to their damage and strips armor or shields or flesh. So how do you build Revenant? Well, most people will say, oh, you build him efficiency and you build him for range to get those beams to be thicker. Or you build him for efficiency and duration, once again, to kind of keep him going longer. The sad fact is you only can get down to 5 energy drain per second. So in my balance build here, I'm at 160% efficiency and 218% duration, and that's the limit of his energy drain per second is 5. So that's as much as low as you can bring that energy duration, that energy drop. So you can either do pure efficiency or pure duration. Both will bring you to right around that level. But if you're building him for the first time and you're thinking about what you want to try to do, I always recommend people do energy siphon if they have it, because that energy you get back is going to be super useful when it comes to the basics. So the standard intensify and continuity, of course. Running yourself in the Vizarin tree should get vigor if you have it. If you don't, give yourself some vitality, because you're going to need that extra health. Let me just say that. Especially if your shields drop out. Now, if you do redirection, which you can, you get a lot of shields. But for the most part, I recommend keeping your shields low to proc your passive more often and keep your vitality up. He's one of those warframes that you can easily run him with Hunter Adrenaline or Rage to get him a little bit more survivable or energy efficient. Now, with the Naramon polarity, you should be putting yourself with Flow to keep him going longer. Another thing you can think about doing is, of course, Streamline for that increased efficiency. And, of course, you can also do Augur Reach, Augur Message, and then if you have it, Stretch, of course. So that gives you kind of a nice, balanced, efficient build here. So you have 154 duration, 330% efficiency, 175% range, and 130% strength, which brings your abilities to this. which you get about a 43-meter range on the ability and a 46-second duration, which is pretty good. The pillar damage is 1300, as I said, doesn't scale all too well with power strength. The effect radius of the pillars, however, is up to 3.5 meters, which isn't too bad. Mesmer Skin gets about almost 8, 7.8 charges, and the stun duration is at 7 seconds, which is a pretty good period of time. Your Reave is at 1.5 seconds, and you get a 52% health and shield drain, which is fantastic. The basic damage of Dance Macabre is pretty good, so is the radius of each of the beams, and the energy drain per second is about 9. It's about it's a little over half of what it normally was before. Plus, with Flow, you have a nice energy pool. You can drop off the Mesmer Skin. You can go ahead and generate these AI. We'll do that quick. And you can just gotta go na 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 na. As you can see, I was able to drill for a pretty good period of time, and because of how Mesmer Skin worked, it got them all stunned for a brief period. Now you can't reactivate it as far as I know. Now, you can't reactivate Mesmer Skin while this is active, but again, you can reave. And being able to reave is super useful in a moment when, I'm about out of energy from my Dance Macabre, I need to get out of the situation, I can quickly reave out of the situation and be pretty good. Now, as Revenant is a fairly new Warframe, he does not have any augments. If you want to know where you can pick him up, you can pick him up from Cetus, his blueprint. You get him from talking to Nakak. And Nakak is the little boy who sells the masks, which is you can actually fast travel to him too. But once you've completed Seiya's Vigil, and I think you're about Master Rank 8, and you've completed the second Dream in the War Within and stuff like that, you can actually, and maybe even Sacrifice, but I'm not 100% sure about that one, you can go ahead and do Revenant's quest. And you'll have to do some parts of it in Operator mode, which is unfortunate, but if you do it, you get Revenant's main blueprint. And then, of course, all of his parts are found through the Cetus bounties as uncommon or rare drops. As a heads up, they're going to be kind of tricky to get. But when you get him and build him, which does take some resources, he's a fantastic Warframe for defense and offensive capabilities. And as you can see, he can do fairly well. Up to level 200 to 300 enemies, he has no problem with them. And the only thing that really stops him now is he used to be able to puncture nullifier bubbles with his 4th ability, and arbitration drones. I'm not sure if that's changed or not, so you'll have to wait and see how that goes. But if you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe some of you do, maybe some of you will hate me for being so brief with Revenant, feel free to drop a like, comment, or subscribe to my channel for more Warframe in a nutshell. And if you didn't like it, leave me a comment, and I will get to it at a different time. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, all the rest of the stuff to you, all the best stuff for you of the week. And until next time, I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, everybody.